You're checking your bank account on a random Tuesday afternoon, and the number staring back at you is $847. And that has to last you until next Friday. You make decent money, you're not irresponsible, you don't blow cash on stupid stuff, but somehow, every single month, you end up right here, barely scraping by, living paycheck to paycheck. And the worst part, you have no idea how to break the cycle. You've tried budgeting, you've tried saving, nothing sticks. And you're starting to think maybe you're just bad with money, maybe wealth isn't for people like you. My name is Guy, and I spend way too much time thinking about why people who make $60,000 a year somehow have the same amount of money saved as people who make $30,000 a year. If you're someone who feels like you're working hard, making decent money, but never getting ahead financially, make sure to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. Here's the thing, staying broke isn't actually about how much money you make. I know people earning $150,000 a year who are one emergency away from financial disaster. And I know people earning $45,000 who are building serious wealth. The difference isn't income. It's a daily practice. One simple thing that, if you do it every single day, makes it mathematically impossible to stay broke. And I'm going to break down exactly what that practice is, the psychology behind why it works, and how to implement it step by step starting today. But first, I need to destroy a myth that's keeping you stuck. Most people think building wealth is about one big decision: finding the right investment, getting the right job, making the right career move. And sure, those things matter. But here's what most people don't realize. Wealth isn't built by big decisions. It's built by small, daily behaviors compounded over time. And the reason you're still broke isn't because you made one catastrophic financial mistake. It's because you're not doing the one daily practice that makes wealth inevitable. So what is this daily practice? It's this: every single day before you spend a single dollar on anything else, you pay yourself first with a specific dollar amount. You track that payment and you make it untouchable. That's it. That's the practice. And I know what you're thinking, Guy, that's just saving money. I've heard this before. This isn't new. But stay with me, because the way most people try to save money is exactly why they fail. And the daily practice I'm about to teach you is psychologically and mathematically designed to make staying broke impossible. Let me explain why the traditional approach to saving fails. Most people try to save money at the end of the month. They pay all their bills, buy groceries, cover expenses, live their life, and then they try to save whatever's left over. And here's the problem. There's never anything left over, because your spending expands to fill your available income. This is called Parkinson's law applied to money. If you have $3,500 hit your account, your brain will find a way to spend $3,500. A nicer dinner here, an impulse purchase there, an extra streaming service, convenience spending because you're tired. By the end of the month, it's all gone. But here's where it gets really interesting. There's a psychological phenomenon called mental accounting, where your brain treats money differently depending on where it is. Money in your checking account feels spendable. Money in your savings account feels less spendable. Money in an investment account feels almost untouchable. Same dollars, different psychological weight. And this is the key to the daily practice. Here's how it works. Step by step. Every single day, the moment you wake up, before you check social media, before you start work, before you do anything else, you transfer a specific amount of money from your checking account to a separate account that you've designated as untouchable. For most people starting out, this amount should be $10 to $20 per day. That's it, 10 to 20 bucks. Now you might be thinking, Guy, $10 a day? That's only $300 a month. That's not going to make me rich. And you're right, $300 a month by itself won't make you rich. But here's the math that changes everything. $300 per month invested at a conservative 7% average annual return becomes $367,000 in 30 years. And that's if you never increase the amount. But here's what actually happens when you build this daily habit. Month 1, you're transferring $10 per day. That's $300 for the month. Your brain adjusts. You don't even notice it missing after week 2. Month 3, you increase to $12 per day. That's $360 per month. Still barely noticeable. Month 6, you're at $15 per day, $450 per month. By month 12, you're at $20 per day, $600 per month. And here's the critical part. Because you've been doing this daily for a year, it's now a hardwired habit. It's automatic. It doesn't require willpower or discipline anymore. It just happens. Let's run the real math. If you start at $10 per day and increase by just $2 per day every 6 months, by year 5, you're saving about $30 per day, which is $900 per month. That's $10,800 per year. Invested at 7% after 30 years, that progressive savings strategy results in over 1.2 million. You started with $10 a day, you end up a millionaire. And it happened because of a daily practice, not a one-time big decision. But here's why the daily part matters so much. When you try to save monthly, you're relying on willpower. You have to remember to transfer the money. You have to resist the temptation to skip it when something comes up. You have to fight your brain's natural tendency to prioritize immediate spending over future savings. And willpower is a finite resource. It depletes throughout the day. By the end of the month, your willpower is gone, and so is your money. But when you make it a daily practice, you're leveraging habit formation instead of willpower. There's a concept in behavioral psychology called implementation intention. When you attach a specific behavior to a specific time and trigger, it becomes automatic. Every morning, right after I wake up, I transfer my daily amount. That's an implementation intention. And research shows that people who use implementation intentions are 3 times more likely to follow through on their goals than people who rely on willpower alone. Now, let's talk about the second part of the daily practice, tracking. Every single day, you track that transfer. Not in some complicated spreadsheet, not in a fancy app, just a simple note on your phone or a physical notebook. Day 1, $10, total $10. Day 2, $10, total $20. Day 3, $10, total $30. That's it. And here's why this matters psychologically. When you track your progress daily, you create a visual representation of your growing wealth. And your brain loves visible progress. There's a neuroscience concept called the progress principle, which shows that humans are more motivated by seeing progress toward a goal than by the goal itself. When you see that number going up every single day, your brain releases dopamine. You get a tiny hit of satisfaction. And that satisfaction reinforces the behavior, making you more likely to continue. Compare that to traditional monthly saving, where you transfer money once a month and then forget about it. There's no daily progress. There's no dopamine hit. There's no reinforcement. So your brain doesn't prioritize it, and eventually you stop doing it. Here's a real example. Let's say you start this practice on January 1st. By January 31st, you've transferred $310. You've watched that number grow every single day for a month. On February 1st, you have a choice. Spend $50 on something you don't really need, or keep the streak going. If you were relying on monthly saving, you'd probably spend the $50, but because you've built a 31-day streak of daily transfers, your brain doesn't want to break the streak. The daily practice creates psychological momentum that monthly saving cannot. Now let's talk about the third critical component, making it untouchable. This is where most people screw up. They save money and then they dip into it. Emergency comes up, they pull from savings. Unexpected expense, they pull from savings. Friend's birthday, they pull from savings, and eventually there's nothing left. So here's the rule. The money you transfer daily is untouchable except for one purpose, investing it. Here's how this works practically. You're transferring $10 to $20 per day into a separate savings account. Once that account hits $1,000, you move it into an investment account and buy a low-cost index fund. Then you start building the savings account again. Once it hits $1,000 again, you invest it. This creates a system where your daily transfers are constantly being converted from cash into assets that grow over time. And here's the psychological brilliance of this system. Once money is invested, your brain categorizes it as untouchable. You don't think of your index funds as available money. You think of them as your future, so you stop touching them. But cash in a savings account, that feels accessible, that feels spendable. So by constantly converting savings into investments, you're removing the temptation to break the system. Let me give you the math on this. Let's say you start with $15 per day, which is $450 per month. Every 2 to 3 months, you hit $1,000 and invest it. That's 4 investments per year of $1,000 each. Over 30 years, at 7% average return, that's $486,000. But here's what's actually going to happen. Because you're doing this daily and seeing the progress, you're going to increase the amount over time. By year 3, you'll probably be at $25 per day. By year 5, maybe $35 per day. And that acceleration compounds into serious wealth. Now, you might be thinking, Guy, I literally cannot afford to save $10 a day. I'm living paycheck to paycheck. Every dollar is already spoken for. And I hear you. So let's talk about how to create the money for this daily practice if you genuinely don't have it right now. First, track your spending for 7 days. Write down every single dollar you spend, and I mean everything. The $4 coffee, the $12 lunch, the $3 app subscription, the $8 convenience store run. At the end of 7 days, categorize it. You're going to find money you didn't know you were spending. The average American spends about $200 per month on food delivery and takeout. That's $6.50 per day. Cut that in half by meal prepping 2 days a week, and you just found $3.25 per day. The average person has 3 to 5 subscription services they don't actively use. Cancel 2. That's $10 to $15 per month, another 50 cents per day. You're already at $3.75 per day without any real sacrifice. But here's the bigger opportunity. Increase your income by $10 per day. That sounds impossible, but it's not. $10 per day is $300 per month, $3,600 per year. You could get that from asking for a 5% raise on a $72,000 salary. You could get that from doing 2 hours of freelance work per week at $40 per hour. You could get that from selling stuff you don't use on Facebook Marketplace for a few months. The point is, $10 per day is a small enough amount that it's achievable through minor lifestyle adjustments or small income increases. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. Let's talk about what happens psychologically when you do this practice for 90 days straight. By day 90, you've transferred money 90 times. You've watched your total grow from $0 to $900 to $1,800 depending on your daily amount. You've invested that first $1,000 and something shifts in your brain. You start to see yourself as someone who builds wealth. Your identity changes. You're no longer someone who's bad with money. You're someone who has a 90-day streak of paying themselves first. And identity-based habits are the strongest habits. When your behavior aligns with your identity, it becomes effortless. You don't have to force yourself to transfer the money. It's just what you do because you're a person who pays themselves first. And this is when the compounding really starts because now you're looking for ways to increase the daily amount. You're thinking, what if I went from $15 to $20? That's only $5 more per day. That's one coffee. And you make the increase. Then a few months later, what if I went to $25 and you make that increase? Before you know it, you're saving $30, $40, $50 per day, and it doesn't feel like sacrifice. It feels like who you are. Let me give you a real world example. I had a friend who started this practice at $10 per day. She was making $48,000 per year and felt completely stuck financially. Month 1, she transferred $300. It was hard. She had to cut some subscriptions and eat out less, but she did it. Month 3, she increased to $12 per day, still manageable. By month 6, she was at $15 per day and had invested her first $1,000. By the end of year 1, she was at $20 per day and had $7,300 invested. She started seeing opportunities to increase income because she had a system to capture it. She negotiated a raise, got an extra $4,000 per year. She did some freelance work on weekends, made another $3,000, and she funneled all of that extra income into increasing her daily transfer. By year 3, she was at $35 per day, saving $12,775 per year, and had over $40,000 invested. She went from feeling broke and hopeless to being on a clear path to wealth in 3 years. Not because she got lucky, not because she made some huge risky bet, because she paid herself first every single day and made it a non-negotiable part of her identity. Now, let me address the objections. I know you're thinking, objection 1, what about emergencies? What if my car breaks down or I have a medical bill? Valid question. This is why you build a separate emergency fund before you start investing. Your first goal is to get $1,000 in your emergency fund. Then you start the daily practice Once you hit another $1,000 in your daily account, you invest it. If an emergency happens and you have to use the emergency fund, you pause investing and rebuild the emergency fund to $1,000 first, then you resume. The daily practice continues either way. You're always paying yourself first. The money just goes to either emergency fund or investment, depending on where you are. Objection 2. The stock market is risky. What if I lose all my money? Look, investing in a broad-based index fund like the S&P 500 over 30 years has never resulted in a loss historically. Never. In any 30-year period in market history, you would have made money. Some years it's up, some years it's down, but over long periods, it goes up. That's not speculation. That's historical data. And you're not investing everything at once. You're dollar cost averaging, buying a little bit every few months, which smooths out the volatility. Objection 3, I'm too old to start. I'm 40, 50, 60. This won't work for me. False. Let's say you're 45 and you start this practice at $20 per day. That's $600 per month. Over 20 years until age 65 at 7% return, that's $311,000. You just gave yourself a massive retirement boost. And that's if you never increase the amount. If you increase it over time, you could easily end up with $500,000 plus. It's not too late. It's only too late if you never start. Here's the step-by-step action plan. Step 1. Today, right now, open a separate savings account. Do not wait. Most banks let you do this online in 5 minutes. Label it pay yourself first or daily wealth or whatever motivates you. Step 2. Decide your starting daily amount. If you're living paycheck to paycheck, start with $5 per day. If you have a little more room, start with $10 or $15. Pick a number that feels slightly uncomfortable but doable. Step 3, set a daily alarm on your phone for the same time every day. I recommend first thing in the morning. The alarm goes off, you open your banking app, you transfer the money, you log it in your tracker, 3 minutes total. Step 4, track your total every single day. Write it down. Watch it grow. Celebrate the milestones. $100, $500, $1,000. This is your progress. Step 5. Once you hit $1,000, open a brokerage account with Vanguard, Fidelity, or Schwab. Invest that $1,000 in a total stock market index fund or an S&P 500 index fund. Then start building your daily savings again for the next $1,000. Step 6. Every 3 to 6 months, try to increase your daily amount by $2 to $5. It doesn't have to be dramatic. Small increases compound massively over time. And here's the final truth I need you to understand. It is literally impossible to stay broke if you do this every single day for years. The math doesn't allow it. Let's say you start at just $10 per day and never increase it. After 20 years at 7% return, you have $155,000. After 30 years, $367,000. You cannot stay broke with that kind of wealth accumulation. And that's the worst case scenario where you never increase the amount. But in reality, once you build this habit, once it becomes part of your identity, once you see the progress, you will increase it. You'll find ways to save more, you'll find ways to earn more, because you have a system that captures it. And that system, that daily practice, makes wealth inevitable. Look, here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people will watch this video, nod along, think it's good advice, and then do absolutely nothing. They'll go back to hoping things get better. Hoping for a raise, hoping to win the lottery, hoping for some external force to fix their financial situation, and they'll stay broke. Not because they're incapable, but because they never started the daily practice. But you're not most people. You watch this video all the way through. You're someone who's actually looking for a solution. So here's what I need you to do. Right now, before you close this video, before you move on to the next thing, open your banking app and set up that separate savings account. Do it now. Then, tomorrow morning, make your first transfer. $5, $10, $15, whatever you can do, make that transfer and log it. And then do it again the next day and the next day. Build the streak, watch the total grow, and in 90 days, come back to this video and leave a comment telling me your total. I want to see it. I want to celebrate with you, because that's going to be proof that you're on the path, that you're building wealth, that staying broke is no longer your reality. Your financial future is determined by what you do daily, not what you do occasionally. If this video helped you, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Because of this daily practice, This simple system, it works. And it will work for you if you actually do it. Your future self is watching what you do today. Make them proud. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.